This week I've got Kin, which I thought was going to be some sort of fantasy science fiction, big actiony, maybe alien-y thriller, based on the description, which is armed with a mysterious weapon, an ex-con and his adopted teenage brother go on the run from a vengeful criminal and a gang of otherworldly soldiers. Based on that and all the branding, I thought this was going to be a science fiction film. And yes, it sort of is, but really at the end of the day, it's actually more of like a road trip family drama. They have stuff in the beginning and in the end with the otherworldly parts and like one bit in the middle. But I was like, I feel like they had a limited budget and we're like, okay, if we do the beginning and the end, it counts. It totally counts, right? It also felt like basically it was setting stuff up, which is fine if your content is good and I want a sequel from you. But having seen this film, I'm like, I don't need it. I really don't need it. I didn't even need to see this film. I thought it was maybe based on like a young adult novel or something like that. Tonally, that's kind of where it felt. Because you do have a young protagonist, which is totally fine. I'm happy to watch a film like that if it's good. Again, if it's good, which is my big caveat. The cast is pretty big names, actually. Dennis Quaid is in it. Zoe Kravitz, James Franco are probably the biggest names that you'd know in it. Jack Reynor and newcomer Myles Truitt play the ex-con and his younger brother. I always appreciate when there's a film starring people of color. So Myles Truitt and Zoe Kravitz are, protagonists, and they are people of color, and it's cool. But in the case of Myles Truitt, it almost feels a little exploitative. Like, oh no, he's an outsider because he's an adopted black son, which fits into the constraints of the story, but it feels like a little alienating almost, not to be punny here. James Franco is at his James Franco-eist and not like fun James Franco, not like Seth Rogen-y James Franco, which if you were a connoisseur of James Franco's body of work, you know it's a certain type of film he makes. This feels more like The Deuce meets Why Him, and it's just like overly caricatured and scenery chewing, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of these names got attached because Michael B. Jordan is a producer of this, which, love Michael B. Jordan, but whatever to this film. The directors are Josh and Jonathan Baker, who I assume are a brother duo, and in some of the branding, this thing was associating with like Stranger Things. I think it was like from the producers or from the team involved in Stranger Things. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Josh and Jonathan Baker, but you are not the Duffer Brothers who are responsible for Stranger Things. Like, this is not, you are not batting in the same league in them in any way, shape, or form. So basically, kid gets a weapon from an alien. Trouble ensues, not because of that necessarily. Goes on a road trip with his brother. Bonding moments, action moments, yada, yada, yada. Again, I wanted there to be more aliens and sci-fi or any sort of like cool tech stuff. I wanted James Franco to fight aliens. Like, let's be honest. At the end of the day, that is really what I wanted out of this film, and it was not delivered. Tonally, all over the place. Action was whatever. And this part is a big spoiler. So if you plan on seeing this film, which I am not recommending, but if you're going to ignore my advice and see it anyway, at one point the kid uses the weapon that he gets a hold of and kills a bunch of people. Yes, it's in self-defense, but this kid doesn't seem to be struggling with the fact that he killed a bunch of people at any point in this movie. Like, he seems fine with it, which is really rather disconcerting because, with great power comes great responsibility, and he doesn't seem to have a problem with that. So God forbid they make a sequel, because I don't think there's any morality to this character at that point, even though a lot of the film is dealing with the morality since the brothers are ex-con, yada, yada. Long story short, you can absolutely skip Kin. I'd only give it 1.5 out of 5.